At least half will join.
Yeah.
Welcome everyone. We'll just wait for a couple of minutes for people to join in. I'll post in the group also that they should join. So welcome everyone. Today is day four of the online FDP. So we are just waiting. Tell your colleagues to join in. From every college, there are a couple of folks from ABS Engineering College, 12 faculty members have joined. And I was seeing the list from other colleges also. A lot of people have joined in a group. So if you can ping your colleagues to join in so that we can start, because I don't want that I should tell you the instructions, then somebody joins 5 minutes later, then they say, please repeat all the instructions. That is wasting everyone's time. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Vidhi ji. Good evening, Nazir Hussain sahab. Praful ji, Pratima ji, good evening. Okay. Another 1 minute and we'll start. So now everyone's email ID has been created on Future Skills Prime platform. So I think all of you will be able to log in. My team has been helping some of you who have not been able to log in. So I'll just project my screen to show you how to access it. So what you need to do is you can go to this Future Skills and go to login. Can you see login? Please type yes in the chat if you can see the login. Okay, login. So I already have created my login ID password. Your email ID is your password also. So just log in and then you go here on groups. Can you see groups? If you can see groups, just type yes. Okay. Go to groups and then you can refresh the page from here. You can reload this page or you can search for AICT. So I'll just refresh it. So as you can see, I have a lot of groups. This is your group, AICT Atal Online FDP. Okay, this is your group. When you go here, this is the course. You need to finish this course, Fundamental STEM, and this is the assessment. It's a free assessment. If you can see this course, please type yes in the chat. Screen is not visible. My screen is not visible. If you can see my screen, type yes. It's visible, right? Thank you. Yeah. So this is the course. If some of your screen is not visible, so this is the course. This is the assessment. I'll request you to finish the course and then take the assessment. Then once you take the assessment by Sunday, we'll giving you time till Sunday to take the assessment. On Monday, we will be taking out the results and uploading it on Atal. Then you can give your feedback on Atal and then you can download your certificate. You need to score 70% and above in the assessment. So I'll just stop share now. I hope that's clear for everyone. If it's clear, just type yes. If the process completing course will be helpful to score 70% marks. So I'll suggest Viraya ji that you complete the course. Only one course of digital fundamental is compulsory. Second course I have given you because it's a good course. If you want, you can complete it. And one important thing is that if you want to provide this course to your students, please you can get in touch with me individually and I'll work with NASCOM so that you can extend it to your students as well. So I'll stop share now and just I'll stop sharing now. With this, it's time. There is some issue from Jay Ratnagiri ji. Okay, you just message me. We'll figure out your issue, ma'am. We just Jay Ratnagiri send me a message in the morning tomorrow. I'll get my team to help you. Tomorrow morning, just do message me. And with this, I'll hand it over to Mr. Raj Yadav, who's a subject matter expert, to take his session today. Thank you, Raj. Over to
Okay.
you.
Yeah. So, hello everyone. Very good evening, all of you.
And just one more thing for the next 1.5 hours, please focus on Mr. Raj Yadav and his lesson. I'll come back again at 7:30. If there are any doubts, I'll clear it. But right now, I'll request you, please, please, please focus on the class. Thank you.
Okay. So, hello everyone. Very good evening, all of you. Very good evening, all of you. Yeah. Good evening. Good evening, Harpreet. Yeah. Good evening, Varaya. Good evening. So I think I'm seeing a lot of energy over here, right? So again, and you should, right? So because the thing is, we are going to learn certain topics which is very, very mandatory in the current scenario. And now, if you'll ask me why it is mandatory, right? So again, let's say that. So today only, I have seen a blog on the LinkedIn, and a person, he was kind of having a 35 to 40 years of experience. He was at the MD level of the organizations, and you see what that person has posted. That person has posted that should I learn the AI and the Python right now? Is it a good things to start right now? So should I learn about big data? Should I learn about data analytics and all these things? Because that person was worried about the way this tech industry, the way this entire industry is moving forward, right? So yeah, of course, if you have kind of taken this or like taking this sessions, so you are very lucky that you are getting all this knowledge, right? And again, we have tried to conclude a lot of knowledge in just one session, right? So of course, yeah, so hello everyone, this is Raj Yadav, right? and i and I have been working in this industry since more than 10 plus years, right? Earlier I had worked as a developer, but right now I'm working as a trainer, right? I have trained many candidates about AI, Gen AI, data analytics, what is big data, and everything. So, again, let's say that this entire genre of big data came around 2017, right? So, I would say that, so again, if, please let me know if all of you have heard about big data and all these things around 2017. Is there anyone who have been kind of following this entire career? Hello? Is there anyone who have kind of got to know about this big data and this data analytics around 2017? Yes, right. Yeah, great. So again, so basically, when I have also heard the term, so basically this entire big data term came from a blog. I would say so. It was not a blog, but it was kind of newsletter from the Harvard, right? And they have introduced about that now it's time to kind of save all the data, and like now it's time to kind of use all these data which is syncing into the online databases, right? So after that, a lot of industry have emerged. After that, this LLM, this chat gpt, Gemini, they have started figuring out how they can use these big data kind of stuff. Big data means, let's say that it's a data, or like it's a huge amount of data. That's the reason we call this as a big data, right? So when I'm saying huge amount of data, then it's not like 1 GB, 2 GB, 10 GB. I'm talking about hundreds of terabytes of data, right? Even more than that, right? So yeah, so again, when this like when all this I would say that this chat gpt and LLM and everything came, before this people were using data for their data analysis task. So in the industry, people they have started using a kind of tools like Tableau. They have started using Power BI. Of course they were using Excel for a longer period of time, right? And yeah, so of course we have used this, but again, because the this data, this big data, this huge pile of data was not this Excel was not able to cope up. This Excel was not able to handle these amount of data, and that's the reason we have created a kind of various kind of databases to handle a huge amount of data. We have created, I'll say that a different kind of platforms which can stream a lot of data, right? So again, you might be wondering, let's say that when I'm opening up a Netflix, or when I'm opening up a Hotstar or any other platforms, right? So what happens is, these platforms kind of store all these information, so whatever the source or like OTT and like everything, and they push towards a systems, and system handle all these big data kind of stuff, right? So yeah, in every industry, whether you are into the educations, whether you are into the marketing, whether you are into the development, whether you are into the any I'll say that creativity, right? So every industry is now using a big data, or I would say that these industry cannot be, I'll say that cannot be run right now without a huge amount of data, right? So yeah, so now today, currently we are going to discuss about data analytics, we are going to discuss about big data and what all these terms are. But before that, we'll be discussing about what the data is. Again, with this I'll share my screen. Okay, I guess all of you can see my screen, right? Yes, great, great. So, yeah, now we'll be discussing about what is data, right? So, first thing is, we live in the era of a huge data, right? And when I'm talking about huge data, then I'm not talking about just a data stored in a server, right? So basically, big data refers to the large and different or diverse set of data generations, right? And this data generation is happening at a very complex, it is happening at very high speed, right? So yeah, so basically, to handle these data or to understand these data, I would say that this big data have the four dimensions. We have a volume as a one dimension, velocity as a second dimension, variety as a third dimension, and veracity as a fourth dimension. Right? So when I'm talking about volumes, then I'm talking about a huge size of data being generated. Right? Even every day we are generating a huge pile of data. Right? And we are not just generating a huge pile of data, but we are generating this data at a very high speed. Right? So that's the reason big data has also a feature called velocity. Right? We generate the data at a very high speed, and we need to process those data at a very high speed as well. Right? And we generate data with the different forms that comes as a variety. Basically, let's say that when you are interacting with the people, when you are, let's say that you are going to Instagram, or like you are going to the LinkedIn, and then you are liking some post, you are commenting on some post. We have some chat. Yeah, good evening, Suresh. Yeah. So yeah, we are commenting on the post, we are kind of interacting with peoples, right? So those kind of data are called, I'll say that those kind of data are called a graph data. So similarly, we have been creating a structured data, but now we create unstructured data. Let's say that you are posting some text, or you are posting some video, you are posting some images. Those data comes under the unstructured data. Right? So yeah, this big data have the different forms. It has a structured, unstructured, semi-structured, graph, or a different form of the data we have. Right? And variety, and so that comes under the variety. And when we talk about this veracity, so here we are talking about accuracy and the reliability of the data. So this big data, so let's say that when you are trying to interact with the big data, so you are interacting with the huge amount of data. And when you kind of, let's say that when you process that data, those data will be processed at a very high speed. Right? You are interacting with the different form of the data. And with that say, we also need to understand that whenever we are talking about the big data, we are storing a huge and an accurate data. Right? So the question is, why does big data matters? So when you analyze the big data, so again, there are many industry like healthcare, like retail, banking, and finance. These are the few industry that I'm naming, but there are various industry, right? They are using this big data to understand their customers, right? They are understanding kind of how the people is buying the healthcare insurance. They are understanding how the people is purchasing. They are understanding whether the transaction is happening is a fraud transaction or not. Now to understand this entire behavior of the market, right? Different industry uses the pattern of the data. So basically they use the data, right? And they understand the pattern and the trend, right? And these trend help them to take the evidence based decisions. Make sense? And let me know if you have any query via chat. Okay. So yeah, that's the reason we interact and we store data, because with the help of data, uh, this data can be helpful for the various industry, right? Now, now we know about what is the different dimension of the data we have. Now we know about why do we care about the data. So now let's step back and understand a basics of data before moving towards the big data. So the data has a two different flavor. Data comes as a two category. One is quantitative data, other one is qualitative data. So those data which can be measured by the number, they are called quantitative data. Examples, a kind of, let's say that if someone is clicking on your mail or not, let's say that if you are visiting on a website, then what you are like, how you are interacting with that website, whether you are kind of I'll say that clicking a specific product or not, right? What are the different percentages happening, what are the sales figure we have. So basically any data which can be countables by a numbers, those are called quantitative data. And the different kind of data we have, these are called qualitative data, right? These data are subjective and cannot be measured numerically, right? Let's say that when we talk about the review of a person or review of a movie, review of a product, right? Let's say that you are buying a phone, and now someone or like lots of people have bought the phone and they have reviewed about that phone very bad. So those review is a text data which cannot be measured by a numbers. So that's the reason we call this as a qualitative data. We have a survey response, right? So that means in the survey response, what happens is there will be a form, right? And then you need to choose a kind of, let's say that you have to select a uh, different object in that forms, right? So those value cannot be measured as a numbers, right? So these kind of data which is subjective is called qualitative data, right? So the data have two types, qualitative and quantitative. Now there are three level of analytical insights we can make using the data. The first thing is descriptive analytics, second is diagnostic analysis, and the third is predictive analytics. So when we talk about descriptive analytics, we are generally talking about what happened in the past. Like, if what was the sales in the last year, right? So let's say that if you have to understand or if you have to get the summary of any event that has already been happened, then you can use a descriptive analysis. We are only talking about what happened. So, and when we, let's say that when we question about what happened about the data or any business, so we are generally talking about what happened in the past. And to know what happened, right, let's say that what was the sales in the last month, right? That is what it is, right? So and to get the sales in the last month, right, you have to analyze that data, you have to get the mean of the data or the total sum of the data. That is called descriptive analytics. Now the second is diagnostic analysis. Let's say that if the sales was maybe a 60%, like if the growth in the sales was a 60%, now the question is we want to know why the growth have increased. So we can go deeper into the analytics, right? And then we can detect that there, let's say that there are a specific event, and because of that event, right, uh, a sales was high. So basically you are just trying to understand the different behavior of your business with the help of diagnostic analytics. And then we have a predictive analytics. So basically here we are just talking about what will be the sales in the next month, or what will be the sales in the next 12 month or in the next year, right? So here we are just trying to predict the value, right? So what we have discussed till now, we have discussed about the data have four dimensions, right? We store the data and we care about the data in the four dimensions. Then we did discussed about why we need to care about the data, and here we had discussed about few case studies. That means not case study, but we had just discussed that the different industry are using the data in a different way, right? And then we have started understanding about the data. Then we have started understanding about the data, right? Like we have discussed about there are two flavor of data, like quantitative and the qualitatives, right? And then we can analyze the data at a three level: descriptive, diagnostic, and predictive. In the descriptive, we did discussed about we can, if the data is already there and if you just want to know the summary of the data, then you should do the descriptive analytics. And if you want to go deeper, That means if certain event has happened, then why it has happened, then you should do the diagnostic analytics. And if you want to predict the sales in the next year or predict the value in the coming future, then you should do the predictive analytics, right? Again, do we have any query, all of you? Please do let me know if you have any query. If you want to ask any questions, please ask in a chat. Okay. Now, we had discussed about that we can do the analytics at three levels. Now, how we can do the analytics? So so basically to do any analysis, we have a six essential techniques or tools, we can say, right? Like we have the A/B testing, we have the regression analysis, we have data minings, we have cluster analysis, we have time series analysis, and then we have the NLP. So these are the six different tools. And again, not only six tools, basically we have the multiple tools, but these are the few tools that we can use, right, to apply any form of analytics, right? Now we will talk about each tool one by one. So the first tool is A/B testings. So why we should do the A/B testings? Consider a scenario. You are working. So basically, these kind of test is being done when we have I'll say that a low amount of data availables, right? For example, let's say that you are working in a company. Let's say that you are doing a web development, right? And now you want to know whether this website will be highly interactive or other website will be highly interactive. So basically what you will do is you will create 2 3 website forms and then you will push to the market. So in the wild, that means in the internet, right, some people, so basically people will interact with those three different pattern of the website. and and then based on that you will kind of calculate that which pattern is being highly effective, or which patterns or people are liking which type of website in general. So basically that is what the A/B testing is. Let me give you the another examples. Let's say that I work on the LinkedIn too much. So basically I interact, I so people have some different social media. I follow the LinkedIn most, right? And now let's say that I want to express some things, right? So I have to do the post, right? And for example, consider that my some post is being highly likable. So some people are liking the post a most, and some people like some post is being like list, right? So basically, here we are understanding that these post is understood and liked by the more number of people compared to this post, right? That is what the A/B testing is. Let me tell you another examples. Let's say that, so again this happens in real, right? So you might have, we all have faced COVID-19, right? And then we had discussed that, sorry, so yeah, so we all have faced this COVID-19, and we have faced the scenario where people used to tell you we should choose these vaccine, we should choose that vaccine, and so on. So we had 3 to 4 form of vaccines, right? And then you might have also encountered that people have first tried giving the vaccines, right? So basically some people have started giving a kind of different kind of vaccine. Basically they have tested the vaccines, right? Which vaccine is most effective to what group of people. That is the A/B testing, right? Now, the second form of technique is regression analysis. Now, in what situation we have to use this regression analysis? So this analysis, so basically this is a statistical method which help you to understand the two or more variable of the data, right? Consider a scenario. You want to know what will be the sales if I run this specific ad, right? So here ad is the one variable and sales is the another variable. And if you want to know whether these two are like, basically let's say that if you want to know if I'll spend more on this specific ad, will my sales go high or not, you can know these kind of tasks using regression analysis, right? Now we have the third technique called data mining. Basically, these are also the statistical analysis, and mostly under the data mining there are lots of techniques we have, right? And those techniques are called generally are machine learning techniques, which help you to find pattern in the large amount of data, right? Now these technique help you to understand the behavior of the I'll say that behavior of the users, right? It will help you to understand the hidden pattern of the data, right? So these are the core technique we have. Now let's know some advanced techniques. So these are techniques are like clustering analysis, time series analysis, and natural language processing. Now what happens, what is the clustering analysis? So in the clustering analysis, we group the data that are similar to one another, right? So let's say that again, for example, I'll say that let's say that we have a huge group of peoples, right? But then you can kind of separate those people based on the age groups, right? So here age groups is a category that we are separating, right? So again, I'm also considering that these age group of the people will behave differently, these age group of people will behave differently, right? So that is what the clustering is. So basically we are grouping the data, right? And the primary goal of these analysis is segment the large data set or segment the large customers into the smaller one. Basically, we just want to divide the different customer groups. Some customer will be the premium customer. Some customer will not be the premium, but it will be in the huge amount, right? So we want to target a specific group of people, and if you want to do that, so to understanding the behavior or to kind of segregating the group of people, you can use the clustering analysis. The other form of analysis is time series analysis. Now with the help of that you can identify the trend, you can identify the I'll say that a seasonal variation in a data, right? Consider a scenario, you are selling like you are working in a cloth selling company, right? Let's say that you are selling a certain pants, a very simple, right? But again, you have analyzed that during the Holi or during the Diwali or during the this specific event, right? The sales goes high, right? So that is the seasonal variations, right? You cannot use those data to get the summary of the entire 12 month, right? So basically you can understand about what happens in what durations, you can understand this scenario using time series analysis, right? Then we have the natural language processings. Now, these type of technique will help you to interpret or understand the text data, right? Again, we know that. So again, the tabular form of data is very low amount, but if you'll say the huge amount of data is being stored as text data, huge amount of data is being stored as image data or a video data, right? So if you want to understand the text data, right, let's say that yeah, so let's consider that someone is commenting on your post, and if you want to know whether the post is a kind of good or a bad, like in what direction, whether the post is positive or negative, then you can use the NLP, these techniques. Any questions, all of you? Yes? Any questions? No? Great. Now we have a five path for questions to insight. So basically, let's say that if you have a business, right, or if you are working in a business, right, and if you want to know, uh, and if you want to know how to, I'll say that, like how to find the insight from the questions. Give me a minute, all of you. Yeah, I'm so sorry. Yeah. So if you want to know, let's say that if you have, so whatever we have discussed that can be happen in a five different steps, right? So first what we'll do, we will create a questions, or we will ask questions from our own self about our business, right? So having a clear questions about the business is very important stuff, right? So first we'll define our questions, then based on those questions we will collect the data. Once we collect the data, we will clean the data. So cleaning means, so again, whenever we collect the data, that data is not always usable, right? We need to do some massage of the data. That means we need to kind of let's say that you might have collected data where lots of values are null, and like we have the multiple errors, right? We have the multiple duplicates, so we need to clean those data. Once we clean it, now that data is ready to analyze, right? So we can apply the different techniques or different toolkits that we have discussed out of all six toolkits we have discussed, right? So we will use those toolkits to understand what to kind of analyze our data. Once the analysis is being done, right? So we will share the result to the concerned person, or to the stakeholder or whatever, right? So yeah, so we have total 5 step process from getting questions to getting answers, right? Now now as a final steps, so when once we do the analysis, once we do this, we need to convert these analysis into a different story. Or I'll say that there are some questions we have, I guess. Oh, many people are just giving in the chat, they are talking about where they are working. But yeah, again, that's great. But all of you, if you have any query, please do ask me in the chat. Do we have any query, all of you? No query? Okay, right. Now, so here, let's say that we have been we have collected the data, we have done the analysis, right? But we cannot pass that analysis to the stakeholder or to the concerned person as it is. That means you cannot give a kind of summary of tables, right? You cannot give a kind of a chart. So yeah, of course you should give the chart, but you cannot give the data or the information in the form of numbers. Those information is not schemable. So basically what we want is we convert our information into the schemable forms. When I'm talking about the schemable forms, that means when we see the data and within the 30 second, what you understand from the data, that is what the schemable informations. And for that, we convert our analysis into a, I'll say, the different charts and graph, right? So basically our, so here we just want to set a clear narrative of the data, right? And for that we have the two different tools. These are the two powerful tools we have. One is Tableau, other one is Microsoft Power BI, right? Now Tableau is coming from the Microsoft. So sorry, Tableau is coming from the Tableau company, and the Power BI is coming from the Microsoft. Now both tool is very interactive, very useful, and both tools kind of does the same jobs, right? But with the help of these tools, you can create a specific dashboard. You can transfer that dashboard to someone's. You can kind of create a interactive information. You can create a interactive chart. You can create the interactive graph and so on, right? So you can use these interactive dashboard tools to convert your analysis into the chart and graphs, right? So this is what our final step is, and this is what our data analyst do. So the main role of the data analyst is getting that questions, understanding the questions, getting the data for that questions, cleaning the question, sorry, cleaning the data, analyzing the data, and converting that data into these specific dashboards, and then sharing that dashboard to the stakeholders. Let me know if you have any query, all of you. Now, now we'll talk about modern toolkits, which, so again, we might have seen that we have been talking about the various tools, but no single tool can do every task, right? So we have seen there are multiple steps we have, right? That means first we have to extract the data, then we have to clean the data, then we have to do multiple stuff, right? And for those we needed tools, and there is not any tool into the market which can do the task efficiently, right? Which can do all the task efficiently. So what happens is, the all the expert which is kind of using or doing this data analysis, they are using a different set of tools based on the different process of their analysis, right? So some are the, so we have some foundational framework, we have the specialized database, we have the real-time engine, we have the analytics platforms. So foundational framework I will talk about. So basically here there are multiple database we have which can help you to store the data. Then we have the specialized database to which will do the specific task, right? Then let's say that if you want to do some real-time task, for that we have the real-time engine, right? And if you want to know, I would say that this one tool, right? Let's say that if you want a one tool which can do the analytics for you, right? So there are multiple analytical platform we have, right? So as a foundations, first we need to store and process the data at a scales. When I'm talking about scales, so we I'm talking about processing the data, maybe into a terabytes or into a petabytes, right? So there are tools called Apache Hadoop, right? Which is, and this tool is the open source framework, right? And these tools can handle a big data, right? So Apache Hadoop was, I think this was being designed around 2017 only, right? Where the this not 2017, I would say that 2017 or 18 around, right? Where people were looking for a open source framework to handle a big data, right? So these tools help you to process the large data set by dividing the task to the different nodes. When I'm talking about the different nodes, I'm talking about the different computers, right? So it has this multiple features. The first feature is distributed data storage. That means you are not storing the data into the one system, you are storing the data into the multiple system, and all the system is connected. So let's consider that if any system gets failed, right? So the copy of that data is stored into a different systems, right? Now this Hadoop has also is, so this is also a scalable, right? So when I'm talking about scalables, I'm talking about scalable architectures, right? Is it like someone is asking? Okay, okay, yeah. So this Hadoop system is having the scalable architecture. When I'm talking about the scalable architecture, so you can easily, let's say that earlier, let's say that you are working in a small company and then you have only 4 or 5 different nodes, but let's say that as the company grows, you want to store more data. For that you need a more system, so you can add a different, or you can add a multiple nodes to the existing systems, right? So that's the reason we call this, it is a scalables, and it is a fault tolerance. When I'm talking about the fault tolerance, so what happens is, when you have the node, right? So the copy of the one computer, so the data of the one computer is being copied, or it is automatically copied to the other node. So basically, when we have the multiple system to store the same data, right? So we already have a copy of that data. So if any nodes, or if any computer is kind of failed, so we have the copy of that data, right, to the different systems, right? So yeah, so we have this Apache Hadoop which has this various features which will help you to process and store the data, right? Store this big data. Now, if you need, let's say that if you not just want to store the data, but if you want a real time processings of the data, right? So for the real time processings, you have a two different system called Apache Storm and Apache Flink, right? So Apache Storm is a distributed, it is a fault tolerant systems, and which do the computation in the real time, right? It has highly throughputs. That means it's process the data, right? Millions of data per second. And then Apache Flink. So the feature of the Apache Flink is it is a scalable engine for low latency stream processing, right? So again, let's say that if you want a data comes in and then you want to process that data as it is, right? When the data comes, then you should use the Apache Flink, right? But let's say that if you have stored the data and now if you want to process that data in a real time, so you can use the Apache Storms. So both system can be used interchangeably, right? Both has the similar features, right? Now let's say that if your data is not a tabular, if you want to store a different form of data, maybe a text data, maybe a image data, maybe a video data, right? Then you will need a NoSQL database, right? And for that we have the two different systems. One is Apache Cassandra and the second one is CouchDB, right? So again, Apache Cassandra is also highly scalable database. It is best for application that cannot afford to lose data, right? So the primary benefit of this is highly available. It can be achieved by replicating data across multiple centers. So again, the same thing, but so it is very much similar to, I'll say that Apache Hadoop, but this Cassandra is storing NoSQL information. So basically it can store the text data, it can store the image data and so on, right? Then we have the CouchDB, right? Now this is a reliable database that store data in a flexible and JSON format. That means when you pass the information to the CouchDB, it will automatically convert a data into the JSON format, right? And then it works. So what are the primary benefit of this database we have? Basically, if you sometimes, let's say that if you want to work offline, right, then you can use this CouchDB, right? So again, let's say that, for example, consider that you have some applications in your mobile app and those applications do not need internet, right? Then you can use CouchDB for that. That means even though the internet is not available or connectivity is not there, this database can work, right? And consider a scenario, if you do not want to set up every database and like if you do not want to get into the this things, right, this multiple database scenario, and you just want end-to-end solutions, right? For that you can use this enterprise platforms. One is Joho Analytics and other one is Cloudera. So Joho is self-service business intelligence platform, right? And the primary benefit of this platform is you just drag and basically it works as a drag and it has a drag and drop interface, right? So basically, let's say that even though if you are a non-technical person and if you just want to set up a database for your company, you just do drag and drop and that's it, right? So you just read some documentation and like you can set up your entire system on your own. That what is Joho Analytics is. And then we have the Cloudera, right? Which is, and this Cloudera is secure and scalable enterprise, right? Which can manage the complex big data workflow, right? So one of the main benefit we have for the Cloudera is, let's say that you are running your company for the longer period of time, you have stored some information into a AWS, you have stored some information into the Azure or a GCP. So basically you have stored your information to the multiple server, and if you just want to get connected and work on that, so the Cloudera will help you on that, right? You can set the Cloudera into the premises, that means in your organizations, right? And then you can work on that, right? So these are end-to-end solutions we have, right? So yeah. So now we have been discussing, so what we have discussed till now, we have discussed about different form of data. We have discussed about the data analytics. We have discussed about the different tools to do the analysis. We have discussed about the different databases, right? We have to do, store the data, process the data as a stream, right? We have discussed about, we also have the multiple platforms to do every task in just like with just few clicks, right? Now we'll talk about, right? So now basically we'll talk about how do we convert our raw data into a goal. Basically, how do we use a raw data into our businesses, right? So specifically we'll be talking about the data mining, right? So again, when comes what is data? Data is nothing but it's a image, it's a figure, number, text, anything which is available digitally, that is a data, right? Whether that, let's say that if you are opening a website, if you are visiting a social media, if you are kind of doing some transactions, right? So that is what the data is. And let's say that when you talk about all the data, right, and if you do not organize that data, right, if you do not use it, so that data is nothing but a noise, right? That means you are not organizing it, you are not using it, so it will look like a mess, right? So that is what the data is. Now what is data mining? So data mining is converting this mess to the usable forms. That means it will help you. So this data mining technique is all about processings and finding the pattern in a data, getting insight from the huge amount of data. That is what the data mining is. And sometimes we also have the different name of the data mining. We call this as an KDD, which is knowledge discovery from the data, right? So what we do when we are talking about the data mining, when we're talking about the data mining, so we have a huge pile of informations. We pass those information, basically we take those information, we process it, and after processing it, we try to pass through some another analytical systems and make that information as a usable forms. That is what the data mining is, right? So here are the blueprint of data mining or knowledge discovery is. The first thing is we need to collect the data. That means we will gather the most efficient or most relevant data based on our usage. Then after collection of data, we will pre-process it. So in the pre-processing, basically we clean and transform the data in a suitable format so that we can use that data. Consider a scenario, we have a text data, but we cannot use the text data into a business directly. So what we will do, we will analyze the text data and then we will try to find or try to understand the text data. Maybe we will separate the data all about positive data, we will separate all about the negative data. And now let's say that if you just want to know why these information or what people are talking about, what bad people are talking about in the data, or what good people are talking about in the data. So basically you can highlight the most informative word or most repetitive word from both type of data. That is what the data pre-processing is. After that, we will apply the techniques to analyze the data. Basically it's all about finding a patterns, finding a trends in a data, right? Now, after finding a trends, we will evaluate that whether whatever the trend or whatever the analysis that we have done, is the analysis is correct or not. That comes under the evaluations. Basically, we try to understand the pattern is whatever the pattern we have done, right? Is this pattern is meaningful or not? Is this pattern, like if this pattern is meaningful, then are we making mistake or not? right? And after doing all these things, we deploy it. That means we share that insights. Let's say that after applying a technique, right, you have converted your information into a charts and graph, and then you want to share it. That comes under a deployment. So these are the multiple steps when we try to understand any data. Let's say that if you have the huge pile of data, then you have to go through these steps, right? Now for the data mining as well, we have the multiple tools. Again, as I've said, there are different specialized tool we have, right? Based on different task, right? For example, let's say that if you want to sort the data into a groups, right? For that, we will use classifications. For example, consider that I would say that we have a data, like let's say that you are working in a sales company, and now you want to know which year the sales was high or which year the sales was low. So it's like we are separating the data, right? Or for example, let me give you the another example, right? Let's say that you are trying to analyze the text informations, right? And now you want to know whether this text is a positive text or these comment, let's say that whether this comment about the product is positive or negative, right? You can understand about the comment, or you can understand about what people are talking, whether the people are talking positively or giving a positive comment or giving a negative comments, right? That comes under a classifications, right? Now we have the clusterings. Now clustering is all about discovering the groups in a data, right? A good case study will be, let's say that I'll say that we have this insurance company, right? And now this insurance company want to know, right, what kind of insurance these people will buy. So again, basically we want to separate those people who is earning higher and separate those people who is earning lower, right? And that comes under a clustering. That means separating a different groups of peoples, right? Then we have the association techniques. Now this association is all about finding the relationship between the two events, right? That means if this event happened, whether this event will also happen or not, right? That is what the association is, right? And when we talk about the predictions, so here we are talking about predicting the futures, right? Now let's talk about one by one. So classification, so the purpose of classification is, or purpose of classification model is, right? We want to build a model that sort new data into the predefined category. That means we already know about the groups, right? We have a data, we already know about the groups, but we want to, let's say that some new data comes up and you do not want to kind of take a reasoning, or if you do not want to kind of do analysis to make a group, right? So you can use the classification over here, right? Do we have any query, all of you? Please do ask me if you have any query till then. Do we have any query? Hello? Yes, no? No query? Great. Now, okay, as an example for the classifications, right? So let's talk about intrusion detection systems, where we try to classify a network traffic, whether the network traffic is normal or suspicious, right? We want to understand whether the network traffic is fraud or not, or it is a security risk or not, right? That is that can be solved with the help of classifications, right? For example, let's say that if the new mail comes up, and if you want to know whether the mail is spam or not, right, that comes under the classifications, right? Now let's talk about clusterings. In the clustering, we try to discover a new groups in a data. We do not know about that groups, but clustering will help you to divide the data into the groups, right? So we do not know whether, like, we do not even know whether the both groups, like, once the data is being divided into a groups, we do not even know whether the groups is genuine or not. So we have to go inside the group and understand whether we are looking for these groups or not, right? Example of clustering will be, let's talk about a bank which analyze a transaction data to identify whether this customer is a loyal customer or not. So basically, a bank will try to understand whether we should pitch a new FD, or whether we should pitch about this new kind of scheme to the customer or not, right? That comes under a clustering. Then we have the association techniques. Now, the purpose of this technique is to uncover the connection and find patterns where the items or events appear together. For example, again, we often visit a supermarket, right? And you might be wondered why a specific product is kept at a specific locations, right? Now, to understand why this, so basically, people have done a lot of analysis to put a specific product. You might be wondered why all the chocolates are at the counter. You might be wondered why the breads are kept at a specific positions. You might be wonder why bread and butters are kept together, right? Now people do a lot of analysis before putting anything together, right? That comes under the association, and it is also called a market basket analysis, right? So again, here is a thing, right? So basically, like, let's say that when you go to the supermarket, or a small shop, right? And let's say that if you are buying a bread, then there is a higher chance that you will also buy a milk, or you will also buy a butter. So people who is selling bread will also try to pitch you the butter or a milk, or even though they will not pitch you, but you will see at a counter that the bread and butter are kept together, right? Then let's talk about the prediction techniques. So purpose of this model is to find and to kind of predict numerical numbers based on the historical data. So let's say that if a bank want to understand what will be the sales, right, maybe the next year or maybe the next quarter, right? So here we are trying to predict a numbers which is not current present, right? So based on the current scenario we are trying to predict the future. That comes under the predictions, right? So now we'll be talking about how this data mining is being useful, right? So here we will talk about the different industry, right? They have used this data mining techniques, or they are using a data mining technique to solve their own problems, right? So let's talk about finance company. So the challenge of the finance company is they want to identify the fraud transactions, right, and block the fraud transaction in the real times. That means if any transaction is happening, and if that transaction is fraud, so they want to block that transaction right in there. So this is a big challenge for the finance company we have, right? And for this, we use a technique called anomaly detections, right? This anomaly detection will help you to detect any suspicious transactions, right? Any transaction which is not looking, or which is different than the normal behaviors, right? And using this anomaly detections, a bank try to reduce the financial loss, they try to enhance security, they try to improve the customer trust, and a lot of things, right? Let's talk about the insurance, how the insurance company uses data mining. So the challenge of the insurance company is they want to sell a loan product or a insurance, right? So the challenge is marketing a new loan product which avoid, and when they marketing a product, they do not want to market to those people who is not likely to buy, right? So they only want to focus on their prime customer. This is a big challenge we have for the insurance and the bank company, right? And for this, what they do, so what solutions they use is basically they try to analyze the customer transaction data and try to understand based on transactions whether this customer is highly profitable or not, whether this customer is will be highly interested in our new product or not, right? And by doing so they increase the sales, right? They do the marketing with the lower cost, right? Let's talk about a different industry, retail. So again, we have already discussed about market basket analysis, right? So the challenge of the retail is understanding which product is being bought together, right? So that they can increase the sales, right? So they use a association rules or they use association analysis, right? And they understand the sales patterns and based on the sales patterns, right? They kept the different product together, right? Like milk and bread is being kept together, right? And here is the one analysis that I'll tell you, which was done by the Walmart. So it is around about 2008. Yeah. So of course, yeah. So this association technique is very old technique of the machine learning. What they have found is they have found that the people, or specifically the mother who is buying, I would say that yeah, so the mother who is buying a cosmetic product, right, or who is buying any household grocery, right, where age is between 25 to 45, those customers, right, who is buying the grocery, they are also buying a diapers, right? So this is the unusual pattern they have found. And of course they have analyzed that the most of the customer, approximately 80% of their customers, right, the age between 25 to so yeah, 25 to 35 or 40, right, they are likely a mother or likely to becoming a mother, right? So what they have, so based on these analysis, they have kept the mother product and the baby product together so that they can kind of see the product together and then they can buy it, right? So yeah, using the analysis, a company uses these analysis and trying to increase the sales based on the pattern they have found, right? So they can do the smart promotions, they can improve the store layout, right? Now let's talk about the e-commerce company like Amazon's, right? So their challenge is they want to create a unique and personalized shopping experience for all their users, right? And so what they do for that? So again, you can also see that, let's say that you have your friends, and then you, when you open up the Amazon and when you open up your friends on Amazon app, you will see the product layout differently in your app and product layout differently at your friends app, right? So basically Amazon is trying to show you a different product to you and different product to them, and they are doing so by understanding about your purchasing history, right? They are understanding which product you are likely to open or which product you are opening, right? So this is how a different company uses a machine learning or analytical tool to increase their sales, right? Now we'll talk about how do we store the data, how do we store different data sets, right? So we have been discussing about a different form of analysis. Then earlier we had discussed about the data analytics, like how do we what are the different data we had discussed about what are the different databases we have, what are the different techniques we have, and then we have specifically talked about one techniques called data analysis, right? So sorry, one technique called data mining, and then we had discussed about how data mining is being used in the industry a huge, right? We had discussed about how the e-commerce company, how the retail company, how the this I'll say that this retail company, e-commerce company, finance, insurance, how this company are using data mining, right, to increase their sales, to improve the customer this I'll say that this to improve this customer trust, right? Now we'll talk about how the data is being stored and what are the different technique we have to store the data, right? So first we'll try to understand about the data homes. That means to store a different form of the data, we have the different databases specifically. So this is specifically related if you are working with the cloud, right? So we have a databases called data lake. We have a databases called data warehouse. We have a databases called data mart. Now the usage of the data lake is different, usage of the data warehouse is different, and the usage of the data mart is different, right? And so what we store in the data lakes. So let's say that earlier, like let's consider that you are just taking the data and you do not know how to store it, but still you want to store it. You do not have any analogy of the data, that how do we put the data, is there any specific format that we need to change that data and then we should store it. If you do not know, you just want to take the data and store it because you know later on this information might be helpful for your business, right? Then so then we store those form of data into the data lakes, right? It is just like a massive storage box where we put every piece of information, where we put document, where we put images, where we put numbers into the original and raw format. That is what the data lake is. Then we have the data warehouse. So data warehouse is just like a central library, right? Where we take the data from the data lake and we build a categorized library. So when I'm talking about categorized library, so you might have visited the library and then you see that books about the anthology is kept at one section, books about the history is kept under one section, books about the technology is kept under one section. So similarly here we create a different sections, we create a different category, and we take each data, try to verify that whether this data is should be kept to this specific category or not, right? So we clean the data, right? And then we store the data into a different segment, into a different category, and this data can be used for their different research, right? So that is what the data warehouse is, right? Where we organize the data after taking the data from the data lake. Then we have the data mart. Now, what is data mart? So data mart is very much similar to the data warehouse, but here we are not talking about a huge bookstore. We are talking about a specialized store or a specialized library where you will go and you will only find the books about the history only. So it is a specialized library where we store a specific data only related to the specific topics, right? So this is what the data mart is. Again, I just want to know all of you, do we have any query? Do we have any query? Please do ask me. Please put in a chat if you have any query. Yes, no, no query. Great. Okay, great. So now we know about data lake, data warehouse, and data mart, right? Now we'll talk about each topic one by one. So data lake is I'll talk about, it's a centralized repository where we store a vast amount of data. So basically here we store a raw data, right? Whether it is an image, whether it is a text, whether it is a tabular data or anything, right? So we take the data or we store the data as it is, right? In their predefined structures, right? We do not change the form of data when we store the data into the data lakes, right? So we have some benefit of the data lake. That means it is a flexibles. That means you store any type of data which can be used into the future. It is a cost effective. Basically, to store these kind of data, since we are storing our data into the data lakes, and then we do not know when we will use that data, so basically it's like we are not interacting, we will not interact with those data. So to store these kind of data, we use inexpensive cloud storage, right? Which is a cost effective, right? And these data is very much useful to build any large language model, to build any machine learning model, and to do any analysis. So you might be wondering how this LLM or the chat GPT or how this Gemini, how this Claude, or how this all this large language model is being trained on billions of data. Yeah, so basically they are taking those billions of data from the data lake, right? But we also have a big risk over here. Basically, since we are not also that we are not taking care of how the data is being stored or which data is being stored, we are not considering or we are not making note of that. So we will not know what kind of data we have. So you might, let's say that if you do not use the data, those data might be useless. Or let's say that if the documentation is not there, so you might not be able to find a data what you need, right? So data is there, but you might not be able to find a specific amount of data. There's a specific type of data. That is a big risk we have with the data lake, right? Let's talk about data warehouses. So data warehouses is like an organized library, right? As we have discussed, right? So it is a system which is designed as a centralized repository for structured and curated data to store, right? So basically what we do is we take the data from the data lake, we clean it, transform it, and make it in a proper structure before storing it, right? So after cleaning, after proper documentation, we store the data over here, and it follow the technique called ETL, which stand for extract, transform, and load. Basically it process the data, it take the data from the data lake, right, transform it and load it to the new database server, right? Now we also have the four characteristic of the data warehouses. It is a subject oriented. Basically here we only focus on the business subjective. Let's consider that you are working in a finance company. So you will store all the data related to finance, right? Then we store the data with the time. That means you will also keep track of when the data was stored at what time. So it is also a time variant. It is a non-volatile. That means the data is a permanent record because we are making the documentation of the data, right? And yeah, so these are the last categories, it is integrated. That means we standardize the data from the many sources into the single consistent format. That means we store the data into the one format after transforming it. That is what the data warehouse is. So many company uses the data, they have their own data warehouse, right? Where they store a different form of data, right? Then we have the data mart, right? So data mart is all about, it's like a specialized bookshelf, I'd say, right? It is a smaller, it is just like a data warehouse, but it is smaller than that, right? It store only the subset of the data, right? Let's say that if you have the company and then you have the multiple departments, so for every department is being stored in one data warehouse, and now you want to process each departmental data. So what you will do, you will create a different data mart for that, right? So for sales data you will create a different data mart, for finance data you will create a different data mart, and so on. So the primary purpose of this data mart is to provide a specific, so basically we are trying to provide a quick informations to a specific group of people, right? So we have the two key benefits. It is a faster to insights. So basically, since the data is in the low amount, right, we can access the data very easily, right? And you also gives a different access to the different people. You do not want to show the HR peoples about the sales. You do not want to share these informations, right? So you only share the HR related data to the HR people and sales related data to the sales peoples, right? That is what the data mart is, right? So what we have discussed about the data architecture. So we have discussed about the data lake, we have discussed about the data warehouses, and then we have discussed about the data mart, right? So the primary purpose of the data lake is storing the raw data as it is, right? Primary purpose of the data, again, so let's first discuss about the data lake. So the primary purpose of the data lake is storing the data as it is. It can store all type of data, structure, semi-structure, image, text, anything, right? It follows schema on read. That means you do not change the data, right? This data will be useful for the maybe a data engineer, data scientist, which they need a huge amount of data. Storage cost for this data is very low because we use a different form of databases to store or make a data lake. Let's talk about the data warehouse. So the primary purpose of the data warehouse is it is used for the enterprise level, right? Or it is used for the decision makers, right? The data type is mostly structured in this in the data warehouse. It follows schema on read. That means you can transform the data over here, right? This data warehouse will be useful for the business analyst, data analyst, or decision maker, right? And storage cost is higher in case of data warehouse. That means you need to pay more. Then we have the data mart. And now this data mart is a departmental, let's say that if you want to do the departmental level analysis, so you will use a data mart, right? And then the data type is mostly structured, right? It also has schema on write. That means you can transform the data, right? This the user of this data mart will be a specific or the departmental manager, right? A different department manager will have the access to the different data. Then the storage cost is moderate because data mart has the smaller size informations compared to the warehouses, right? Now, what we have done. So basically, we have discussed about how do we store from raw data to the refined informations, right? So what we have discussed, so how this entire system connected. So let's say that we have the sources of information. We store the sources of information to the data lake, right? And then we apply the ETL. That means we do the transform and everything, and then we store the data into the data warehouses. And from the data warehouses, we create a different departmental data mart, right? That is how a data is being stored, right? And yeah, and this is it about the data analytics. But yeah, so let's have some quick questions, all of you. So who can tell me what is data mart? You do not have to speak up, just type in a chat. What is data mart, all of you? Please type in a chat. How do you explain data mart? Yes, everyone? How do you explain data mart? Like a data bazaar. Okay. But I think data bazaar is like, so I think you are explaining about data warehouses, right? Data bazaar is like a data warehouses, but let's talk about what is data mart. All of you, please answer in a chat, please. Of course, it is a subset of data. Yes, specific subset of the data. Okay, any more things? Specific purpose data. Yes, yeah, it is a specific purpose data, purposeful data, right? That is what the data warehouse, data mart is, right? Now let's talk about uh, what is data lake. How do you explain? Do you have any analogy for the data lake? All of you, what is data lake? How do you explain the data lake? Answer please in a chat. I have just given the analogy, right? So it is like a container in our house, right? So we all have a big container in our house where we do not know what to keep. So basically what we do, all the unnecessary things, right? Yes, all the unnecessary things that we think, but we are not using those specific product right now, but we might use those specific product in the later on. So what we do, we put all those unnecessary unuseful information, not information but unuseful, I'll say that things into that box, right? That is what the data lake is, right? So we can store all the information over there, right? Now tell me, okay, so give me one example where we can use clustering algorithms. All of you. Give me one example where we can use clustering algorithms. Yes, we have 321 participant over here, right? I'm expecting answer from one as well.
Come on, guys, answer.
Yes, all of you, yes. Arti, Suresh, Ambika, Abhijit, Arvind, Asu, Chaitanya, Chetan, Lakshmi, Hemant. I'm talking, okay, so I'm asking about give me one example of clustering algorithms where we can use a clustering algorithms. Just give me a simple analogy, a simple examples. Maybe like you can give any kind of example related to any topics. Oh, wait, no, no, no. We cannot use for the fraud detections over here. We cannot use. Image classification is a different thing. Separation of items. Yeah, separation of item is a good answers. Discovering, but again, I want a real world examples. Data mining. I do not know for data mining. I think yes it. Yeah, sorry, but yeah, I'm hoping for a one real world example where we can or where people use a data mining. How Flipkart uses a data mining? Yes, Virendra, how Flipkart uses a data mining? Customer segmentation. Yes, customer segmentation is one example, but can anyone be more specific? Not wireless communication. Oh God, from where this coming? Yes, Vaishnavi. How wireless communication will be used for clustering? Yes, and yes, Harpreet, how product recommendation will be used for clustering? I'm asking for a specific answers. Maybe any market is using market research, social network analysis. Social network analysis, you can say yes. Document clustering is one of the example, right? So yeah, consider that. let's say that we have the organizations and they wanted to kind of let's say that we are talking about the government organization and they have the huge pile of the documents, and then and so basically we are not talking about the physical document, we are talking about the electronic documents. So what they can do, they can understand the document and then they can process and group it together, right? In medical side, I don't think the medical side is will be useful, but again it can be, but you are not giving me the specific answers. Supermarket, how the supermarket will be used for clustering? Jayanti, do you have any specific answer for that? Clustering group of customer based on their purchase behavior. Yes, we can. Yes, this is yeah, we can segment the people based on the purchase behavior. Maybe I have 10,000 budget, some people might have 1 lakh budget, right? So the people, so I will go to the different market at different shops, but the people having the higher budget will go to the different shops, right? So yeah, you can kind of do the clustering over here, right? Yeah, this is it. This is it. Do you have any query? Any questions for me?
Uh, Raj, if you can just continue for another 5 minutes.
Okay, great, great. Okay, so let's talk about uh, how you can use the natural language processing. How we can use natural language processing. How we can use NLP. Do you have any specific examples of using the NLP technique? Okay, Rajendra is asking about installation of Hadoop. Okay, currently we do not have any installations explanation, but again, you what you can do is you can go to the website of there, right? And they will tell you how to do. But again, I would say you need a specialized persons who already know about Hadoop, then only they can do. Right, so that is the basically you need a kind of a specific expertise to set up this Hadoop database in your system if you are looking for that. Right. Rajind, I hope I have given your answer. Right. Okay. Naveen is asking what do you mean by k-means clustering and how it is applied in NLP. Okay. Okay. K-means clustering is so basically clustering is a group name. Consider that we so it's a big name, but under the clustering umbrella there are multiple technique. We have the K-means algorithms. We have a kind of a different kind of this algorithms we have, right? So these techniques uses so basically we have the multiple techniques, and one of the technique is k-means, who works differently to do the to kind of do the grouping in the data. And then if you'll ask how do you apply in NLP, so to apply in NLP what you can do is uh, you can understand the text, make a numerical version of the text. So basically we call this technique as an embeddings. So embedding will help you to convert a text to a numbers, and then based on those numbers a similar text will have a similar number. So you can use uh, k-means after that, right? Now Pratiksha is asking difference between KNN and the RNN. Oh my god. KNN is okay. KNN is a classical machine learning technique and RNN is a deep learning technique, right? With the help of KNN, right? So KNN, I would say that, like let's say that, so KNN is just like a clustering, classification algorithms, right? So if you have a three group of data and then you want to kind of let's say that we have 1,000 example and each example belong to either class A, class B and class C. So what you will do, you will build a KNN models, and then if a new example comes up and then you want to know that model should answer whether this example is belonging to group A, group B and group C, then we can use a KNN. and the RNN is a totally different technique, right? Which will help you to process the text data or the sequence data, right? So it is so though the name looks very much similar, but both techniques are totally different. I hope I have answered, Pratiksha. Do you need any more explanations?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Raj, for
Mhm.
that.
Okay.
I think
Mhm.
even the concepts are very clear for me also now.
Okay.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much for that session. And
Okay.
we look forward to having you again next week for the next cohort. Same time. I hope that should be okay. Same time,
Yeah.
Thursday at
Yeah.
6 o'clock.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. That will be
So
okay.
please block your calendar because we are
Okay.
having another session on like Feb 2, 2nd February to 7th February, and then again from 9th February to 14th February, same topic is being repeated. And some of you who have not been able to, like if you are not able to pass the exam in this one, sorry, you can join the next cohort because exam you can take only once in one cohort. So I'm just giving you a heads up. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Okay.
I'll just take the questions now before the next trainer can join. So thank you, Raj. We'll
Okay.
see you
Okay.
again next week.
Have a great day, all of you. Bye bye.
Thank you. So I'll just repeat the instructions for all of you again. So attendance is taken on Zoom. Okay. Attendance will be taken on Zoom. So you can just join in this class and we will mark your attendance. That is one. Feedback link we will share with you on Friday. That is tomorrow. You can take the feedback, give the feedback to us. And if it is good feedback, then you can record a video of yours and send it to us. We'll put it on social media. If you have any negative thing, that also you send it to me directly. We'll we'll sort it out for you. I'll just now show my screen so that you can see where is the Future Skills Prime course. Okay. So this is the Future Skills Prime website. You would have all received your welcome emails. If any of you are still facing some issues, I just request you tomorrow morning, just WhatsApp me. My team will, work with you to resolve your queries. Because right now it might get a little late for us, for the team members, to solve your queries, but just remind me tomorrow morning, WhatsApp me your query with screenshot, and we will work on your, we will resolve your queries. Okay. So now this is Future Skills Prime, and here you go to login. Okay. You log in. I'm already logged in. And here you will go to groups. You will search for AICT. So you will see this group, AICT Atal Online FDP DAF STEM. You can visit this group. Let me know if you can see this group. Just type in the chat and scroll down in this group. Just type yes in the chat if you can see this group. There's a great. So this is the course. There are 33 modules. You can complete this course. It will help you to score 60%, 70% marks in this assessment. Thank you, Purnima ji. I'm glad that you were able to log in. Okay, so this is the assessment. You can take the assessment anytime till Sunday. Okay, but I will suggest that you finish this course, Digital Application Fundamentals STEM, so that you are able to score. No, I cannot post the link. You have to log into this site. It's a portal, Raja Mahanti ji. There is no link for this. You need to log in, create your account, go to this course, consume the course, and then take the assessment.
Ma'am, daily
I hope that
assessment
is
it is
clear.
there.
Sorry?
The
No, no,
assessment
there
is
is no
daily.
daily assessment. Madam, there
Then
is no daily assessment. Only one assessment is there which you can attempt after you complete this course.
no,
Marks
it
you
is
should score.
now we won't be getting it on the Atal this one.
Yes, it is not on Atal. Atal doesn't says that there has to be an assessment, but not necessarily on the Atal portal. All of you, your assessment is on Future Skills Prime. It is not on the Atal portal. I am Repeating again, it is no, you are not going to get a link for this, Raja Manti ji. It is a Future Skills Prime website. You go there, log in, come to the portal, go to your group. This is the course, and then this is the assessment. Okay.
Ma'am, I tried to log in, but I couldn't get that group thing, ma'am. I
Okay.
couldn't find the group icon over there.
Did you reach this page?
Yeah, the Future Skill Prime.
No, no, you have to log in over there, madam.
Yeah, ma'am, I have logged in with my email ID.
Okay. So, can I request you that tomorrow morning, if you can just message me with your name and screenshot tomorrow morning, my team will
Which
resolve it.
this one, ma'am. From this, I have to give. I'll send you a message in the
Yes.
group.
Thank you. I'll
Is it
stop
okay
sharing
to send
now.
a
Our
mail
trainer
in
is
the
here. Ma'am, I'll request you to now just be attentive in the class. And here we are, our trainer is here. And Srijit Nair, welcome. Happy to have
Welcome,
you
ma'am. Hi,
here. And
everyone.
your sessions are always very engaging and interesting. So I'll request everyone to just pay attention. And if there's any issue with your login or assessment, tomorrow morning you WhatsApp me. The team will help to resolve your queries, all of your queries. So let's now focus on the studying part of it. Over to you, Srijit. You can introduce
Thank you.
yourself quickly and move forward.
Thank you, Kamna. I'm Srijit. I'm a development sector professional with over 22 years working of in between innovation, introducing innovation for a solving of a social problem. That is where I have established my strengths in. So presently working with IIT Delhi for an initiative called Abhay. So that is the background. Now, first of all, apologies, but I understand that this would be a much needed break from the last session. Hope you're ready to have insights on this particular session. So just give me a moment. I'll just share the PPT. Yes, hope this is visible to everyone. Yes. So it's very pleasant when I just saw the number of users who have logged in. 325 of you at this particular
Uh,
hour.
yeah,
Yes.
I want to share something.
Yeah, yeah.
We have 870 participants who have registered for this program. 870
Wonderful,
participants.
wonderful. So that's really amazing, and the kind of commitments that you are showing at this particular time. It's at 7:30 plus, and all of you are here. So much appreciated
Yeah,
and
big
much
applause. Big
excited.
applause for all the faculty members. Big applause,
Yes,
sure.
yes, big applause, definitely. Because see, now the kind of transitions we are going through with the AI part being here, it's really challenging. There was something called VUCA environment, that is volatile. Now it's BANI, that is a term used for brittle, ambiguous kind of a environment that we are here. We think about can we upgrade with X or Y, we end up upgrading ourselves. By the time the systems are already so much upgraded that it becomes a bit of say challenge just to keep a track of it, what to do, how to do. So hope this particular courses that you are going through, that is helping you understand what exactly is the basic fundamentals. The good thing is that just stick with the very basic fundamentals, let the students do what they do, and you be the enabler. That itself is very comfortable zone for you all to be and of course upgrading yourself, that is another aspect. So here, I don't know if you have gone through Future Skills, other courses that you can have an access to. Wonderful courses. Like I myself, although have been upgraded, but it's always good to go back, learn, come back. And whenever we share, that's another sort of a learning. So I'll just move on to this particular aspect. many of you would be wondering why, like, it's a technical course. A lot of AI related interventions and tech related, those aspects have been covered. Why a session on problem solving? So that's where the problem solving aspect, what we will do is that we will look at the real world challenges in AI implementation. And while you do that, what are the kind of problems that you would be facing on a daily note? And basic introduction of, so a lot of you might be going through one word called workflow. So while AI has taken over, agentic AI has come, the concept of workflow, like what to do, having certain uh, parts described categorically, then working on each of the part. So those workflows, session flows being in place, it becomes very easy to understand what exactly to do in a pretty much sequential way. For technology, it is true. Even for a problem solving aspect, those kind of workflows exist. So what we will do is that we will just go through one of these workflows. At the same time, we'll also look at how we can have a AI aspect, AI implementation, what kind of challenges we can have, and we can have a lot of discussions. Let's say more you can give me problems, I can, based on that particular context as well, I can come back to you. So let's start. Let's the first one of the objectives that I would like to explain here. So the objective here, it's not just to experiment with AI tools. Lot has been updated. Lot of basic fundamental updation have been happening in sessions. So, but yeah, it's while experimentation is absolutely important, but just moving away from it, enabling you people to excel with the connected intelligence. And how we can do that is by applying structured problem solving frameworks that exist to academic and technical workflows. The good thing is that it's not just about academic and technical workflows. Basic fundamentals can be used to look at how we can add value to a problem that is existing at a personal level, at a student level, being a mentor to so many. There are a number of use cases that comes up, but having a basic framework ready is always a good thing. So that being the objective, the question arises why a systematic approach to problem solving is required. So so certain aspects I have mentioned, but would you faculty members like to share some? You can just type in. Okay, get comfortable, but would like to hear from you. So, basic concept is that we have been doing so much. There is classes to teach, innovations to handle, courses to introduce, daily problems, daily from say looking at parental interactions to annual day celebrations, keeping track of X number of administrative aspects apart from the teaching. Um, we end up in a situation where, moreover, our fixes are reactive fixes. By reactive fixes, it means something comes up immediately. What can be done? So somebody is coming late to the class, whether to accept, not accept, what to do. But long-term approach would be what exactly can be done in a structured way to ensure that the problem is solved at a longer tenure, that nobody comes late. There are systems and measures in place to identify, track, come with the problem's solution, and have a sustainable solution framework in place. So that way, a long term, what happens that immediate fixes, although it won't ever go out of basic requirements since every day is a new challenge, but a lot of stress can be avoided if we have look at coming up with sustainable solutions in a long proactive manner. So shift from reactive to proactive is something that we would be looking at, where we can look at all these kind of challenges happening, designing curricula, So the technology is rapidly changing. So I myself have been a lot updated. So I thought that agentic AI is something that I now have a complete control over. So now there's something called Agent Swarm has come up. Kimi 2.5 model is something that I am referring to. So suddenly it is like you just punch it, type in one prompt, and a lot of agents are created just for something that you are supposed to do, and then they disappear. So again, exciting, but how to design a curriculum over it? Uh, can I create something? Because by the time that I'm creating, will something else come up, or do I even need to work on it? Those aspects, and if I need to work on it, if even for an update I need to share, how can I have it in a quick way possible? So that at least that updation, upgradation aspect happens on a continuous basis. Navigating complex interdisciplinary research grants and projects. That is one aspect that is not limited to students, but applies to you as well. So whenever we are looking at how those research grants, what exactly, say sometimes it happens that just 2 days left, you come to know that such a grant exists. There are examinations going on. At the same time, you know that this is a wonderful opportunity for your institution or you in specific has been looking at how to uh, working in the same field. Suddenly you realize such a good proposal aspect comes in. You have all work in place. How to ensure that within a 2 hour window we can have something applied for. There is a session flow. Session flow includes what you have done, that being in place, leading to certain planning, how to apply that, executing, doing aspect, then checking whether everything is to the perfect requirement and having that closed. So those aspects are on a regular basis something that you would look at that leads to a certain application within 2 day window and you getting the project. So those aspects are something that at a challenge base you can see how it comes and what the solution can be. Improving student engagement, retention, and learning outcomes. So a lot of tools would have been shared previous sessions, upcoming sessions. A lot of enabling aspects. I think most of you would have been using in this purview only. And then comes the streamlining and optimizing part where the institutional processes, standard operating procedures to identify X challenge, coming with a solution to the same, documenting it so that it becomes a proactive and sustainable intervention. So those are the certain aspects for which uh, you need a systematic approach. So that's a significant aspect of the learning that is required for problem solving. So now coming to the very critical aspect that AI as a tool versus AI as a solution. So AI as a tool to enable certain aspects you would have looked at as of now. But technical upgradation, it's not just about learning. It is about building solutions. So say the code, how it is built, there are a lot of you don't need to have just focus on the learning aspect as of now, but building solutions and delivering results faster. That is something that AI can enable as of now. So with that, the problem solving now is not defined as the act of defining a problem. It is about diagnosing the root cause, identifying a solution, and sustaining the results. So these aspects, these categories are something for which AI tools have come up as an amazing enabler. So now just looking at why the problem solving matters. So it can help you on a daily basis enhance teaching quality. So problem-solving approaches that normally a faculty is using for anticipating the kind of challenges that the students are facing. Different set of learners, sometimes certain technical aspects. A person coming from a particular, say, less comfortable with English language, how to ensure, but highly technical. What exactly to do? that you can have a suggestive content in place, yet it's not time consuming. So those aspects are something for which problem solving can be applied through AI. So it leads to clearer lessons, lesson plans, and having an engaging experience for students. So similarly, we also need to be adaptable in this kind of environment. It is constantly changing. So with all this evolving technologies, what's happening is that there are a lot of diverse learning needs that is coming around, and you need to say, and when there are a lot of needs, a lot of technology involved, something or other goes amiss. So whenever that happens, having a session flow workflow or a framework ensures that the effective proactive responses are being delivered. It also encourages evidence-based decision making, having all the data, the right kind of data in place. Suppose you don't, uh, there is a class particular in which you have observed that particular week's student attendance is low. So why is that happening? So when you have all the data, including attendance as the kind of courses going on, if there is a feedback mechanism in place, having that in place, with all that data coming in, you can have a evidence-based decision support system that you can make and come to a solution. It also strengthens student outcomes and reducing institutional inefficiencies, identifying what is leading to X number of delays, having a framework in place, and that increasing the operational efficiency aspect. So those are the aspects for which sits faculty with a strong problem solving skill can do better. Just don't teach better. So with that, I'll just move to the core framework that we would be discussing here. How many of you are aware of the PDC cycle, that is plan, do, check, and act? So if some of you are familiar, what are the use cases that you have been using? Please do. If somebody has been using, I would like to hear of the use case. I'll just come back to the chat window. So it's what we are sharing here is a PDCA or plan, do, check, and act cycle. It is also known as Deming or Shewhart cycle. It is a framework which has four aspects, starting with planning. What exactly, say, identifying there is a solution that you want for a particular challenge. You start first with planning. What exactly, and planning cycle, it would be about identifying the core problems in place. Once the problems are identified, having the KPIs, known KPIs as part, and then identifying laying out what exactly is the problem. The next aspect is doing, checking, and acting. So I'll just go with details of the same. But I'll first of all, I would like to say that this versatile framework, it is not just something that is being used can be used at a faculty level. It's something that at a proven level industry has been using. Let's see a case of how Toyota has been using this particular one of the problem solving methods. So what we know as Kaizen revolution. And what is Kaizen? It is a Japanese philosophy that says that you need to have a continuous improvement cycle in place. There's a book of the same title available. Interested, it's a very good read. You can go through. But that's something that was developed by the founder of Toyota, and it includes a 5 why technique. I'll come to it later. But here I'll just share what was the case study. So what happened is that when a lot of factories were being started, it was found that a lot of factory workers were saying that there are inefficiencies, and the culture of work That is not good at Toyota. So, and when it comes to mass production, that is the way, like cheaper mass production quality vehicles, that was one aspect that Toyota started working. So when the question came up and a lot of criticism happened, so what Toyota started doing is that, first of all, let workers identify the cause of why certain issues are happening, help them identify the deeper cause. They set up an incentivizing mechanism so that they can come and suggest what is required, based on which the problem was, say, the planning aspect was having the employees come to you, setting up a mechanism, implement that, check what kind of feedbacks are coming, and then act upon it. And while acting upon it, empowering the particular workforce to ensure that they themselves are recognized for the aspect, and they also get an opportunity to lead and have a professional growth aspect as well in place. While Toyota started doing this, they found that the ownership of the employees increased. Students or employees, whosoever are included in a problem solving aspect and the feedback is taken, they will also have a sense of ownership, and that increases the culture, the gets the culture better. So that is one aspect that Toyota worked on, and with amazing results. Similar has been Nike's example, where widespread criticism has been of the labor practices. And Nike embraced a culture of continuous improvement by empowering again the workers who would like to solve the particular problems. And that led to a significant rise of, say, the culture being getting better, problems reduced, and eventually that leading to increase in the number of uh, revenue that is coming in. Similar has been a model with Mayo Clinic. Uh, at a medical setup, that is something which is quite more relatable to many of us. While we go to a hospital, what happens is that registration is at one place. Then the doctor to visit some other floor, somebody needs to guide you to that place. There is a waiting line. Waiting line also depends upon who, sometimes who's coming first to who's being favored. That aspect exists because it is not being monitored. You have that aspect then for but basic screenings or checkups, test, you go to another building or another floor, then come back with the results, or say you go back for the results to a particular place, come back, then get the checkup done, have the medicines, that again is at a different place. What happens is that something that can normally at a regular family clinic, it used to take 10 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour max, now becomes a half day intervention. So the intention here is that you go to a better clinic or better hospital. Uh, the kind of reality is that it sometimes is not that good of an experience as it is for a basic clinic. Hence, specialization. Whenever there is a specialization, there is a geriatric problem, there is a child who needs support, such inefficiencies lead to much more delays. Same is with college. When you see the admission process, the examination result process, libraries, whatever it is, such problems exist. So here, what they did is that there was a long wait for the cochlear implants that are required for a child born with, who's born deaf or has some hearing issues at the onset itself. So again, lot of different places to go, different experiences, and then the problem was solved, and it used to take the entire day. So how to refine that particular treatment aspect, bringing in computers to manage the patient records, having systems and efficiency, operational efficiency processes frameworks in place, led to reducing waiting timelines. And that happened not just in one day, it was a continuous improvement cycle with, say, the time required for test being reduced, how to look at the next stage, what is the next stage, how we can increase this time for to go to the next stage, and so on. So with repeated cycles in place, that led to a positive outcome where say the entire time required was reduced from 7 hours to 3 hours, and the that led to the inventory. Says inventory rise when you have a lot of implants ready, but distributing it or implant for a particular patient is not it's a delaying thing. So a lot of inventory used to pile up. So that was also reduced by 31%. So that's another case study for you. So now, how can it be applicable in academia? Say the scenario here we are mentioning that suppose there is a decline in student success rate in a particular engineering course. So first of all, it is about the plan cycle. The plan cycle is the first. In plan cycle, we can say it's about identifying the potential cause. There are certain tools I will share the detail with you in the upcoming slides. But at the onset, it's about looking at what exactly is the cause for the particular problem. So here, the example is you come to know that the labs are outdated. And since there is no practical exercises, the kind of tacit knowledge required, that is amiss, and that leads to reduced success rates. So what to do in such cases? One aspect is that with the existing limitations, you can have a blended learning module with interactive simulations as a solution. Lot of online simulation tools exist now, and you just go suggest to something that this is something that you can use till the labs are being upgraded. Once the plan is set, the aspect comes at a do stage, that is pilot the new module. And when the new module is implemented, what you can do is that you can just focus on one section and have a control group as well, analyze how much difference it is making. The results being positive, you can and that aspect comes at a check aspect, where you can look at the pilot section exam scores and compare it with the control groups. And then with the data proving that this model will work better, you can include or implement it. That is the act aspect. So this is the basic fundamental with which we can proceed. Yeah. So I'll just go through the detail here. So any aspect that you people would like to discuss, which is okay. Nothing, but please let me know any particular kind of problems that you would like to have as context to move forward. Okay. Okay, no responses. Please do respond in between. Like it becomes a very one-way interaction otherwise. So I'll just go through the overview, defining, diagnosing, implementing, and sustaining with a particular framework. So stage one, here is when we are defining a problem. So another example that we will give is this is the aspect, this is the stage at which we specifically collect data, have the challenge marked, and we also create, say, a team of experts who can have who are part of the designing the entire solution. So at a school level, at a university level, that is, you can have a team which is designated to come up. You might be the lead, you might be one of the people who are suggesting use a basic workflow. If somebody is saying good evening, thank you. But yeah, interacting more in terms of any problem, that would be really appreciable. So then we coming back to the defining the problem aspect, we specify what the problem is. We collect data to ensure that we have adequate data to help us create a decision support system, and we involve experts. So one aspect to for as an example would be an AI course in intro, that is defining the design problems, the insidious design problems, that is 31% fail the particular goals. Now, the aspect is admissions. Can we visualize the processes, find time, costs, and the bottlenecks, mark evaluation? Can we quantify the inconsistent result and fragmented data? And then the live projects, defining what kind of poor initial requirement gathering was done. So defining all the problems, all the variations which would be required, whether it is introduction of a new course, whether it is the admission aspect, marks, live projects, what exactly are the components and where the challenges exist. Once you have all the data laid out, then comes the part where stage two, you say diagnosing the root cause or root cause analysis. For root cause analysis, there are certain kind of tools that exist. I'll come to you with the detail, but yeah, there is something called fishbone diagram. You use it to identify all the data that you already have, having that in one place and looking at the cause and effect aspect as well. Once you have that cause and effect aspect in place, we can also look at um, having a say, I'll just go through one by one. Sorting ideas and investigation when it comes to AI courses is something that you might be looking at with a fishbone or cause and effect diagram. You might also be looking at, just one second, somebody's, okay. For a admission aspect, the basic uncovering of the fundamental issues, that would be something that you would be looking at. What exactly has been the admission process? Where are the bottlenecks that exist? And if the bottlenecks exist, is it a process related issue? Is it a person skill level issue? So those are the aspects that you can chart out as the root cause analysis aspect. For mark evaluation, you can look at what kind of data is coming, what kind of teaching was done, attendance and everything, and correlate the relationship that exists between those to have a problem statement identified. And for live projects as well, you can have a project related issue, something called 5I technique. I'll come to that and drill down sequentially what exactly are the challenges. So once you do that, you come to the identifying and implementation aspect where the solutions are identified and we move towards implementing the same. That is generating, selecting, and planning the details. Then we move to the testing and monitoring aspect, where once we have identified the solution and implemented it, we look at how we can test and monitor the same and come up with a solution. The solution is either it doesn't come up with the desired results, we rework. If it comes up with the desired results, we say, okay, we have a sustainable process in place. Then we document the process and we have it published as a framework. So that next time something happens, you have a system in place. While we do that, we can also have a continuous improvement cycle, doing this again and again, so that the challenges are reviewed. If still there is a lag, we can have those aspects taken care of as well. So that's the basic flow. This is about the workflow or a framework that you can use to take care of any particular problem. Now the tools for this particular session, that is something I'll just go in with the detail. These two slides would be very significant when it comes to having those summary of what exactly you can use to have those session frameworks in place. So root cause analysis, it's about a particular understanding that symptoms exist at the top. Howsoever, there is a lot that you need to dig in before you come up with a particular reason why it is happening. There is a 5I method. All the details I'll just go through in detail, where you are digging in at a deeper level as what is the required solution, but what is it because of which a problem exists, that is. Fishbone technique is something in which you lay out all the variables in present, and that leads to identification of the problem. So these are the aspects that comes under root cause analysis. And then there is a structured problem versus ad hoc fixes kind of an approach. Structured is when you define, you measure, analyze, improve, and control. So this is something that whenever you have a time the aspect in place, and you can just have time to have a proactive, sustainable solution, use this. Ad hoc fixes are those, again, as we suggested, all those reactive fixes that some problem comes up, you are coming up with a solution. So there are many aspects that do you just need to focus on reactive solutions? Answer would be yes, of course, that is also part of the system, although not part of the framework, but with the evolving world, such challenges will come. So a blend of both are required. However, you just need to ensure that much focus or most of the solutions that you are coming up with, it moves from a reactive sort of a solution to a sustainable proactive solution. So prioritizing and evaluation of solutions is another aspect where we look at the solutions with an eye on the basic aspects that need to be checked on, whether it is feasibility, impact, cost, and risk aspect. So, and then moving to the continuous improvement of mindset, that is just solve problem and having the PDCA cycle continuously run through, not just one time. So I'll now move to the part of visual power problem solving. That is the plan aspect. Whenever you are planning for a, just one second. Okay. Still no input. I believe I'm at least audible. I'm just getting a series of details of names, but okay. So moving on, I'll here mention what exactly is part of the plan or do aspect. Whenever we are trying to lay down or identify a particular problem, these are the tools that you can look at. So complex systems and processes, those which are just difficult to be laid out just by text alone. Say an email comes, this is the problem. So there are various aspects that this email won't do justice, although it is detailed. What you need is a visual tackling tool, which can help you, one, simplify the problem, categorize the problem into bits, each bit having a significant aspect of whether it is leading to a particular problem or not. Then aligning is as aspect where you create an understanding across teams. What exactly is it that the problem is? Whether everybody in the team understand that this is a problem, and then ensuring that we have a common understanding. Then discovering the real hidden patterns, what exactly are through the categorization aspect, and then moving to the visual method, that is mind map or flowchart. So mind maps, how many of you would have already worked with mind maps? Again, yeah. But this is one aspect that a lot of people would have started using for those who still want to understand how to have a um, portal or a tool that can enable you to mind for developing this mind map. This would be the place. So first of all, understanding how mind maps help. These are particular diagrams that you use to visually understand, collect all the data. There are four aspects that you need to focus on to identify a particular problem statement. So in this case, say for a particular problem, you are looking at the course objectives, syllabus modules, the kind of assessments and the lab equipments that are required. Those might be the place where the challenge exists. So these are different departments. There might be challenges in terms of departments speaking to each other. There might be challenge with one department, that might be challenge with a set of departments not speaking with each other, and that creating a choke point. So once you lay down all the department wise or category wise four aspects to work on, then comes the aspect that within each particular category there would be subcategory of interventions. So in a text, it can be like pointers and subpointers. But pointers to subpointers, sometimes it really becomes hard to visualize what can correlate to what. So once you lay down in a proper mechanism, you can have those categorization like within the course objective. The categorization would be that foundational theory is something that you need to look at, practical skills, and then the project work. So if there is a uh, lack of students passing with that particular course, is it because of the marks within foundational aspect? If it is yes, the theory aspect, you can mark it as red. You can use colors also. Apart from the text, you can have visuals in place so that you can quickly correlate to what exactly is it that is written in text, because brain works in a way that it becomes easier for visual cues to identify what exactly you are targeting at just from an image. So you have those aspects in place. You create a, say, foundational theory, you have a icon in place. If that is causing a problem, you can mark it red. You think that has a potential, mark it as orange. Otherwise, mark it as red, green, that is. Practical skills, if there are problems, you can have those marked as also. And same with project work. And there might be within practical skills, there might be certain sub pointers, uh, of which one would be green, one would be orange, one would be red. So just have the pointers, sub pointers, and categories within all in branches visually, color it, then you can find that there might be two red and one orange aspect that you need to look at. Now, for the course aspect, move to syllabus module. There might be certain aspects. When you have that syllabus modules in place, you might realize that there are certain aspects that are introduced in a new manner, because of which the orange is correlating to another orange or red within the new course that is introduced in the syllabus module. Same happens when you have assessment reports in place, where based on this course objective, what was taught, what was used as assessment questions, what were the kind of questions, and what are the places where most of the most of the students have been uh, going wrong with wrong answers and everything. That would be one area that you would have correlated. And in this case, it might lead out that while the syllabus was being made, certain aspects were unclear. That led to the course objectives, the theory part of it, not being taught properly. That also has been marked in red. That leading to the kind of answers coming up not being same in one particular aspect. It might also be a revelation that within the lab equipment also, those were the particular courses or modules for which there was some equipment lacking. So it helps you understand, marked in colors, that certain aspects within the four objectives exist, and there is a correlation, one thing in one particular branch leading to a certain kind of a challenge that is correlated with another aspect of the problem. Once you have all this, you can correlate and find out what the problem is. And it might be that just next time the syllabus module should need to be uh, laid out properly. And the next iteration would be at the course objective, that eventually the PDCA cycle goes to the next level. Next time you work for the assessment aspect. Before that, you also look at the lab equipments coming in or having a simulation, lab simulation being in place that students are using. So once all of them are laid out clear, then you can have identify what kind of problems exist and take action for this. So that's the basic idea of what exactly mind maps are for. Why it is required? It is because it is an excellent way of brainstorming. It's not a linear thinking, but you are laying out all the complex aspects that leads to a particular problem coming in. It also helps the laying out of all the complex problems, correlating everything. That leads to simplifying that particular problem. So that is why absolutely just lay out. And sometimes just uh, the best notes that we take is, suppose you want to plan the entire day. So you can say, the day that is tomorrow, what are the four critical aspects that I need to work on? So four aspects and what to do within that. So those becomes the priority. Then one arrow can go down and say, what are the noises that I would be facing the entire day? It might be traffic commute, it might be say one or two unplanned meetings coming up, one or two faculty not being present, and you taking up the classes. So once you lay out all those risk factors in place, you know how to work for that and ensure that at least four aspects how to take care of this while other aspects are looked at. So those kind of non-linear thinking leads to laying out, visualizing the complexities of the problem that you face on a daily basis, and just visualizing, correlating how to come up with a solution for the same. So that being, yeah, okay, I'm still getting names. I stop in between to see if somebody just wants to engage. Okay. So the faculty use case here, that is something that we are mentioning, that brainstorming research streams for a grant proposal, as I just shared previously. Outlining the syllabus for a new elective course can be something that also we shared, or planning a multi-departmental event. So whenever you are doing that, how many resource people we have? Just lay out everything. What are the kind of aspects that we need to focus upon? How many resources we need for the same? What are the resources that we already have? Is there a problem? Is there a way to have additional resources in place? How to, if there is a lack of number of resources available, can we have interns or students coming in? So those aspects, everything can be visualized, and then it helps you take a decision. So there are now digital aspects, canvases or tools available for mind mapping. So I'll just mention a few, and if somebody suggests, I can go online and share one. Otherwise, I'll move on. So there are certain dedicated softwares available. uh, Xmind is something that I'll just focus on one aspect. Xmind is something that, being a free aspect tool, you can use it comfortably. Most of the tasks that we have mentioned, it's very much possible. Going from simple mind maps to very complex mind maps, it can take care of everything. While you do that, there are, say, if you are working in on team, so there are visual collaboration tools available as well. Mural is something that I will suggest, very simple to use. And what you can do is that you can start inviting people of the team that you want to focus or have a meeting with. In fact, that is something that you can open up while a video call is happening, and you can discuss, chalk out all the challenges that you face, and have it mentioned here. A lucid chat collaborative AI is another aspect that you can focus on. So what you can use for this is generating new ideas, expanding on existing topics, or summarizing a branch of mind maps automatically. So all this you can have uh, this particular digital canvases uh, being used. Okay. So I believe most of you might be using it. Otherwise, somebody, if the application aspect is required, I can just go and share one of these. Just let me know. So now moving to second tool that you can focus upon whenever you are planning something. So this flowcharts for people from computer sciences background, that is also one thing that most of us use to ensure that before writing code, we know what exactly would be the flow in which the codes need to be generated. So those would have been using for others. I'll just share what exactly it is. So whenever you have a workflow planned, you might be there is a workflow that is leading to introduction of the cause or the opening statement. It might be about the activity to be done. It might also be about the decision to be taken, whether decision number one, two, three, or four needs to be taken. If the decision is taken, then there would again be certain flow aspects to it. And there might be certain loops like if this is not done, go to this, come back. So for all this to have be in place, uh, there is a graphical representation that can be used to uh, define what to act, what is the session flow, and such. So that is the layout in which we have flowcharts in place. Why flowcharts are very helpful, although very say on the same lines with mind maps, but a bit different is that mind maps help you identify multiple aspects that can be the reason for a particular problem. Identifying it, that is where the mind maps are very helpful. Once you have identified the problem, then comes the requirement that, okay, now that the problem is handled, how we can look at what to do to ensure that there is a solution. So here I'm mentioning a lab equipment checkout. So opening statement or how we start would be students need equipment. Then this particular sequence starts. Sequence step number one, filling out request forms in a rectangle. Then uh, having those decision boxes in place where there's a yes answer or no answer to it. If the answer is yes, what is the session flow? If the answer is no, what to do and move to the next step. So can define all those using different boxes, each categorizing to one action to be taken. And there are symbols that we use. So the start and end points, as we mentioned, would be oval, and then the actions or tasks would be rectangle, and the decisions would be diamond. So just follow the basics, and you can have all the arrows mentioning what is the direction of the flow. So once you have this, you can just create the sequence to be used to come up with a solution. Basic, very basic. So I think most of you with the computer science background and others would be using it. Now you don't need to do it manually as well. There are diagramming softwares available. Lucidchart being the best. Use it. It's free tool for those who have not used it. And then you can do while using Lucidchart, say one advantage of your Lucidchart is that it has rich template available. It also promotes real-time collaboration, and different data integrations are also possible using the same. So we covered how to have mind mapping softwares in place. What mind mapping is, the softwares that you can use, flowcharts, and the kind of softwares that you can use. Now coming to fishbone, that is cause and effect aspect. Again, I have okay, Bharatji, hi. So I'll move to the cause and effect diagram aspect. Also call it Ishikawa. It's a visual tool to structure brainstorming and identify root cause of a problem. So why it is called so? Obviously, because it looks like a fishbone aspect. What we do is we mention, so previously here, we just laid out all the problems. Here, what we can do is that within a fishbone structure, you can see what exactly is the thematic area and what are the uh, sub pointers within it that is leading to the main session flow. Curriculum and pedagogy might be something. So within that, there would be outdated content, ineffective teaching methods, lack of practical application, or poor assessment design. So once you just look at the flow, what exactly is it, and everything is leading, then you can also have those colored inputs and everything, uh, basically leading to identifying what within the curriculum and pedagogy aspect is leading to the problem. You can also have student succession rate as the thematic aspect that you need to focus upon, and what all are the problems within it that is leading to the problem, that is weak academic foundation, or having an inadequate advising or support aspect, low student engagement, or financial or personal issues in place. Then there might be certain industry readiness or placement aspects, skill gap, industry interactions being not that updated, lab not being in place, or poor career preparation, etc. There is also an aspect of research and project management aspect that might not be very clear. There would be communication breakdowns. There would be lack of funding and resources and inefficient workflows. That all leads to this particular problem. And again, operational and administrative aspects as well. That is the bureaucratic processes delaying certain decisions, faculty workload or development uh, being the case, because of which there are certain delays happening, inadequate infrastructure or resources not being in place. So that all might be the reasons that is leading to suboptimal student outcomes or program inefficiencies. So you can have all the programs laid out, how it is affecting, and then this helps you identify what to do in terms of planning and uh, going to the problem solving part. So here, uh, honestly, I would like to hear from you if somebody has been using some of these tools. Anybody can volunteer and share if anything. Okay. So now I'll just move to the 5 why technique that previously I shared with you, something that has a lot to do with the founder of Toyota Industries. This is a concept that originated around 1930, and Toyota has been sticking to this aspect to identify a lot of operational challenges that actually were not visible. Eventually, what happened is that this thing, because it is that much effective, led to a lot of people using it. I find like I also interact with a lot of mental health professionals uh, in one of the programs that we have. So they also vouch from the fact that something like 5i, it is something that even for a student or a person who is a bit confused, it can lead to the identifying what exactly is it that is bugging a person, or what exactly is the challenge. So in a literal sense, it would be that. So I'll take one of the examples here only. Lot of people not uh, being responding to what I am asking. So it might appear that okay, you might not be listening, but what is the cause? It might be because uh, you might be noting down a lot of initiatives. It might also be that you have an additional task of sharing some details that again and again pops up on the window. So, but why exactly is it that you need to uh, focus upon or write down? It might be that you are not aware that the session plan would be shared or the PPTs would be shared with you later. So why is it that it's not happening? It might be because I didn't update of it at the starting point itself. And why would that be? Because there was a technical issue that I had. So just to cover 5 minutes, I just didn't start with the basics or the learning objective and what I'd be sharing. That is a pretty much 5i aspect that I can use to self-analyze how to start the session next time. Um, so a very basic example, but the same you can also use to identify at your level, whether it is a personal aspect or looking at solving a genuine problem within the institution. So the basic summary here is that whenever we are repeatedly asking why, typically multiple times, you peel back a lot of layers that actually leads to identifying of the basic problem. So normally what you will find that even when you are having discussions with your students, uh, interpersonal skills, and especially when the students are coming up from technical backgrounds, technical students are known to be more solution oriented. But what happens at an emotional level, they might not be able to connect to a lot of aspects that are happening. So just whenever a student is agitated, even if you use these particular 5 aspect, why are you agitated? What is happening? Why is it happening? Why is it affecting you? And what are you doing about it? So you will find that a lot of clarity comes to that particular student. Even a student who is not performing, why you are not performing, what is the reason, why is this reason lingering for so on, what are you doing towards acting to get out of this particular uh, frame, and how can I help you. Those can be 5 aspects leading to better interpersonal connect with that particular student, or having a personal problem that you might be able to solve. So I'll also give you an example of the Washington Monument. That is one aspect that has been used quite well for defining what the 5I problem was and how it was very much instrumental in a very historic monument being preserved. The problem or the monument that I'm referring to is the Washington Monument. The problem was that the monument stones were deteriorating rapidly. So this was something that was found out, and just to preserve that building, uh, a 5 eye technique was used. So the first why was, why are we using those particular chemicals to clean that particular stone? So it was identified that you need harsh chemicals to use, and harsh chemicals being used were leading to the degradation of the stones. So the question came that why those harsh chemicals are being used. The reason was that there were excessive pigeon droppings that were leading to harsher chemicals to be used to get rid of those aspects. And why was the pigeon droppings a problem? Because the pigeons were attracted to the uh, insects coming in. And why was that particular insects or spiders coming in? Because they were speeding on swarms of flies that were coming in at a particular time. And why was that happening? It was because during evening times, whenever the monument light used to come up, it used to attract a lot of flies. And that eventually led to spiders coming in, spiders leading to use of uh, the, the pigeons coming in, pigeons leading to those pigeon droppings, and that requiring those harsher chemicals to be in place. The solution was pretty simple. Don't turn on the lights just when the shift happens, the dusk part goes on, and by the time that it is already night, you can switch on the lights. So that 30 minutes not using the light led to those harsher chemicals not corroding the particular stones. So those are the aspects you can, it is very interesting when you start using 5 eyes. The example here, if you have been interacting, a lot of you people would say that this is one aspect that leads you to identify those problems that at a particular surface level are not at all visible, and you can't even uh, assume that X might be the reason. So instead of people focusing on organic chemical free solutions for cleaning or something like that, just coming to the root level, you can have a very surprising result and come with a very sustainable measure. So why now that same example being used for faculty, that is delayed student projects. If the student projects are delayed, The problem can be that final year capstone project is 2 weeks behind schedule. So the first aspect that you might be asking is that the students might be coming and saying that the key simulation results are delayed. That is why it's a 2 week behind schedule. If you go to the next why, you might come to know that the required software packages are crashing. So why are they crashing? It might be because the hardware of the existing computers might not be supportive enough for the updated version of the software, which is part of your curriculum. So while you started, the minimum configuration might be something that your hardware had, but the course started 6 months down the lane, a new version comes up. Very, very quite often this happens. And now there is a delay. And that because the hardware is not able to take care of that particular new version, the system keeps crashing. So then you come to the next level. Next, why this is the case? It might be because the hardware specifications has not been updated in 5 years. So normally, whenever there is a software version-wise updates, particularly in the new era, AI era, um, something beyond 3 years might not be feasible. Particularly with AI chipsets and everything coming in, you need a dedicated GPU. Even your system, high-end system, might not be able to take that much of a LLM model just because of the sheer requirement if it is uh, being run internally through a server. So you identify that you need higher cost chipsets. So then you go to the root level cost, the next why. That is, you realize that there is no formal process in your college to ensure that whenever the upgradation aspect, when the course started, this would be one aspect that also needed to be addressed. You come to know, and then you create a SOP that next time onwards, whenever there is a software requirement, it is ensured that it might be every 6 months, it might be a new version coming up. So even the uh, on a higher note, what is the qualification, the uh, hardware requirement required for that particular software is noted, and the systems are updated, so that with an assumption that it is a 3 year course or 5 years course, your systems are updated enough to ensure that those solutions are looked at. So that's one of the examples. A lot of other examples we could have discussed. Any questions at this stage? Okay, I understand that a lot of you might be say it's getting late. It's already 8:45. So the energy levels would be coming down. So what happens is that whenever there is an energy level coming down, even at my end, it becomes a bit confusion wala what exactly to look at. Okay. So I can just see a relief smiley at least, some response. Thank you, Virenderji. Yes, yes. At least two smileys. I can get back to my spirits now. Yeah.
And one yes, sir, also is there.
Okay. So it much relief. At least sometimes what happens is that genuinely, if there is no response, I am not at all sure whether my internet is working. That happens. So much relief. Thank you. So moving on, the technology, how we can use tech-based initiative uh, to come up with a five-way solution. So one aspect is Miro or any other whiteboard that we mentioned already that can be used. You can have a discussion with a student. You can share that particular Miro workflow board to that particular student, and you can have everything marked and in place, and then track how you can have those aspects in place. There are, apart from the virtual whiteboards, the example of Miro mural. So I had certain videos in place to play. So I'll just give you.
There's too many tools, silos appear, progress lulls, and the spark fades. Not anymore. This is the intelligent canvas. Do in minutes what usually takes hours. With AI that uses your ideas and content to create things like summaries and get you started on diagrams. Get an extra pair of eyes on your work with AI sidekicks. When you need feedback or ideas for next steps, take back time to focus on real work with AI powered interactive workflows like journey mapping, research synthesis, and sprint planning. All integrated, all together, in one place. Innovation belongs on the canvas.
So that's Miro for you. And I hope you are able to see the video. Can I just have the response? Yes, yes. Okay, thank you. So this is Miro for you, and as the visuals, instead of just sharing that video, will do much justice within the limited time we have. And that's one way of very interactively having a real-time brainstorming and a collaborative uh, system in place. You can just visualize the maps and what is causing what. The sticky note aspect of this is one aspect that is very good. So I'll go to another thing that I use mind mapping wise.
You know the feeling. A project begins with excitement, ideas rushing in, but soon they scatter. What inspired you now feels hard to move. It shouldn't be this way. Xmind brings clarity. Ideas take shape. Tasks align. Plans become visible. And when the work feels too big, Xmind helps you break it down. Simple steps, clear direction. Momentum you can follow. Priorities become clear. Everyone knows their part. Progress is tracked. Timelines unfold with ease. No wait, no friction, just progress that feels natural and results you can trust. Project management made simple because everyone deserves smarter work and every idea deserves its chance to make an impact. Xmind, the light way to manage projects.
So that's explained part. So while the whiteboards are used to lay out all the problem statements, how I used Xmind mostly is that once we lay out that those particular aspects, what's the non-linear aspects are in place. Uh, you just identify what exactly needs to be are the root causes, and then I can shift to the project mode, have this window mode, shift to project mode, lay out what exactly is it that in the plan cycle I have gathered, shift it to how we are using it uh, to that do aspect, that is laying out what exactly needs to be done, who to be involved, what are the team members name, who is assigned what, by what particular timelines that they need to finish each aspect, and then looking at how the project is going on, how the problem solving aspect is going on. So anything that requires a week to do, or say planning annual days and everything, just use one of these softwares. You would be amazed at how convenient it becomes. Another aspect, a bit more mature when it comes to problem solving, would be something that you are using to track and say project management would be one aspect. So for that, Jira and Rike are two aspects that are amazingly well suited, highly recommended.
We are a project management solution called Right. When you open it, it looks like this. With it, you can do this. At Right, we call this the table view. We fill it with tasks that need to be done. Choose who needs to do what here. and keep up to date with statuses by clicking on this. Easy, right? We've also got other views, so that you can see the project in the best way that suits you. Because hey, everybody's different. To spice it up, we've got even more features to keep your team covered for when you need to create more with less. Go to Write.com and get started for free today.
So once you mature, say you start basically whenever there is a problem, you can start with basic simple tools like Miro to start defining the kind of problems that you have. Once you mature a bit more, you might be looking at, apart from planning, plan and do aspect, for which softwares like Xmind amazingly work well. But how to ensure that each project, each challenge, each problem is tracked, even something that you would have worked on a year back, you have all the necessary action plans, frameworks, and wisdom in place, yet looking at other aspects and everything coming together as a project that you manage. The project can be the administrative tasks that you have combined with the kind of educational courses, the kind of innovative courses that you might be deploying, to having a personal relationship, identifying each student's profile, learning challenges, tracking that, and ensuring that everybody, especially those students who need extra care when it comes to handling their learning challenges, everything is tracked, and that leading to amazing results. Just start trying something like Jira, and you'd be amazed at what kind of solutions that can come in, what kind of performance enhancement happens, and at the same time, you as a faculty or a teacher can outshine while you are also managing the administrative tasks. I believe that is one of the major problems that you all face. So that balance, start using a project management system. The flow session or the framework can be planned to check and act. So that integrated toolkit is something I'm mentioning again, just a closing aspect, that plan is something where use of open-ended brainstorming, potential solutions, and project scopes are something that you are looking at. Do is the aspect where you are looking at how to diagnose the root cause problem. For planning, we discussed that mind maps can be one of the best aspects to visually lay out complex activities and look at how certain aspects correlate with each other, and exact problem can be identified. Once you have that, diagnosing the root cause problems, and then preparing flowcharts, those flowcharts ensuring that what are the exact steps to be taken, those are handled with oval shape diagrams to start and end, rectangles to share the sequence that you follow, diamonds to for the yes no decisions, and arrows to loop in what are the flows that is happening. You do that, and the do aspect, that is acting, executing, those can be planned. Then check is one aspect where you analyze a lot of work. So even for that basic tool like Excel to gather all the data, Power BI is one aspect. But apart from that, a project management software like Jira, those would be the aspects which will immensely help you to keep a check on what is happening. So use let's say Miro is something that might be having its limitation, but even a basic software like Xmind is something that you can use and have the check aspect in place. And then whenever the problem is solved, new data comes in, act on those, the problem solved, create standardized operating processes, that also within Xmind or Jira, or even SOPs with basic tools like Miro works in very well. And you can have those documented. And again, that system keeps on refining itself every year on year. You can see that whether it is a problem of students' academic scores, with each intervention, each cycle, you can have new initiatives coming on. When it comes to AI, every year the course might be updated. So, what are the new courses that has come up? How to have that in part of your syllabuses, apart from the regular syllabus that can't be changed. check whether the new initiatives are leading to certain learning. You can have introduce capstone projects, industry aligned projects, or a tie-up with industry that is helping them learn the new tools. And once you have those systems or those connects in place, document everything, what the resources are, how to connect with certain industries, what are the simulation aspects available, and keep on refining the model, keep on updating every year on year. That's how that particular model works. This here I am also sharing within the PDSCA cycle, whether it is for plan, what are the softwares available, the do aspect, softwares like even apart from the regular ones mentioned, Teams, Microsoft Teams, the basic available for free is something that you would like to use. Moodle is another aspect. Check Tableau and Power BI are very interesting aspects. Even Google Studio, Data Studio is something that you can look at. And the ACT aspect, Notion is another very interesting tool. I didn't mention it in detail. Notion itself is has a lot of potential. In fact, that is the Android of the entire PDCA cycles problem solving aspect. You can create an entire software out of it, or basic note taking. It can be anything and everything. So those are the tools that you would like to experience while your journey to tech-based problem solving methods, documenting and sustainable solutions goes on. So a closing statement would be that from toolkit to culture, what you require is the idea and belief and action towards continuous improvement. So problem solving is not just about what kind of techniques you have learned. It's more about application of those techniques, so that it just doesn't remain as one of the tools that you have learned. Start using at least in a basic aspect. When you start your day tomorrow, you might the first challenge that of the day that comes in, please start with using one of these tools. That is a very small step. Once you take that, you can use just if you have time, or ask some student to ensure that what you have noted, those students convert it into a Miro or a Xmind based uh, model, that is whether it can be a mind map or a flow aspect as only. So those can be documented from this students itself. And then you can have students, a team of faculty, or you at your own comfort level, explore what more can be done. But when you do start doing a solution aspect, problem solving aspect with a team or with your student, what happens is that they also learn more than tool about adapting those techniques. And these techniques, I believe, at least many of you would be aware of some of these techniques, but the lack of application is something that leads to a limited potential of what exactly can be done using tech for problem solving. I have also just added a summary aspect. The core problem solving processes is starts from defining to diagnosing the root causes and identifying and implementing towards a sustainable result. There is a PDCA cycle: plan, do, check, and act. There are 5 whys. That would be one of the aspects that you can use to look at root cause analysis. And visually laying down the problem solving starts with visually laying down, whether it is mind map, flow charts, or cause and effect fishbone diagrams. So I'll be sharing the detail, not required to take a screenshot or something. We'll be sharing this with you. So all the best, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, Kamala.
Thank you so much, Srijit, for that. I know that it was a late. It is
Yeah, yeah,
designed like
we
that.
understand. But much appreciated. Still, most of you are there. Much
Yes, yes.
appreciated. See, by certain times, like it becomes the last one of the sessions. This happens, but highly appreciative that you might be listening and looking forward to you being applying those learnings. And please do comment on Future Skills Prime. That is one request. Wherever there is a learning, please do. That helps. Like one smiley from you had a positive effect. The same is expected. hope you would be marking us and sharing the learnings online as well.
Yes.
Thanks.
Yes, if you share it on LinkedIn, you can tag Srijit, you can tag me, you can tag like Ma'am Kamna Jain, you can tag me, you can tag Srijit Nair, you can tag NASCOM, you can tag Future Skills Prime. So thank you so much. And I'll see you tomorrow at 6. If there's any issue with your logging or your, I'll just request you, it's a little late now for us also. If you can just remind me tomorrow morning with a WhatsApp screenshot, we'll figure out how to resolve it. So thank you so much, everyone. See you tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Thank you. Bye bye.